it was a very frightening experience, and I do believe in otherworldly creatures for the fact that things like that happen to people, because they happened to me and my team. I lost 3 people throughout the year because of things that have happened. But as far as dragons go and stuff like that, I'm not sure if dragons did exist at one time, and there is proof that they may have existed at one time. But as far as I'm concerned, I have not seen one for myself in person. I have not seen one, in the sky or anything like that. I haven't seen Bigfoot. I haven't seen a chupacabra. I haven't seen any of that. But whatever it was that we seen in the woods out there, it was just more than my crew could handle.
Right. And I just asking these questions for a simple fact of people who are listening. I don't really say I really believe in dragons. I mean, it'd be cool if they did exist at one point in time, but there is absolutely no proof that I'm aware of.
Yeah. Well, the proof that they have that they may have existed at one time was they found a skull that looked like a raptor head, but it was in fact not the skull of a raptor. It is not a dinosaur they have discovered yet. They cannot pinpoint what it is, and they have found tissue that could have went to wings and stuff like that. It was halfway decomposed, but it does not match the DNA of a pterodactyl.
Huh.
And that's the proof they found. I've looked into it a little bit. Of course, people like to hoax things, but this was funded by the national security of, what was it? I think it was, I think they found it in Ireland. Yeah, I think it was Ireland they found it in. And it was like a national security thing up there where they found it. They found it buried underneath, what's that place? It's somewhere, I forgot what it is, but it's a castle that belonged to a king a very long time ago, and they found it buried underneath there.
Dang. That's interesting. What do you think about werewolves?
I think that it is a possibility that those creatures could exist, but I don't believe that they are humans that turn into werewolves.
You think they're really more of a larger wolf, maybe?
A werewolf could possibly be a wolf that gets more aggressive during a full moon, which, I mean, most animals do get more aggressive during a full moon, but it's more of a, people have said that they've claimed to see these wolves or these creatures stand on their hind legs and walk like man. And it's more of a theory that they've done this, but wolves tend to get more aggressive during full moons, and it kind of stimulates the fact of werewolves or humans becoming werewolves during a full moon, that they get more aggressive, and that's it's something that's up for debate, and it's something that is clearly not proven, but it's also not unproven,
Right.
But.
And what do you think about vampires? What's your opinion on that?
Now vampires. That ties into a paranormal type thing. It's kind of like, let's just say this. Today, a vampire would be considered somebody who enjoys drinking blood, which there are people out there that do enjoy that. But vampires were also, known to apparently turn into bats and attack people. Vampires were known to stalk kids during the night, things like that. And they were told to do these things during certain times, like during blood moons and things like that. And I don't fully believe in vampires, but at the same time, you see some things that really set you off. Like, people know what you're thinking sometimes, or people know all about you and have never met you in your life, and those are things that apparently vampires are able to do. And it just strikes me as odd, but I don't fully believe in vampires, but I do somewhat believe that there is some kind of explanation for vampires out there.
Right. I can't really say I ever met a vampire before. Just, I don't know, I guess you could have met one on the street and not even realized it's possible that they do exist. But there's so many different variations created out there by movies, you don't know what to believe and what not to believe, even if they do exist. If it could be like Twilight, or is it like Bram Stoker's vampire story movie, or you don't know.
Yeah, and Dracula is one of the most popular vampires out there. He is the original vampire. But the thing about that is people called him such a bad man. He did not drink the blood of humans. Dracula actually drank the blood of bats. And that's what people think. That's why people think that vampires turn into bats, because they drink the blood of a bat and they automatically gain the power because they're of paranormal essence. And that's why Dracula was looked down on all the time, because he was so weird. He drank the blood of bats. He did in fact sleep in a coffin, but he slept in a coffin because his mindset was, I'm going to die one day. Why not get comfortable? So and that's the thing. But he was a real person. He did drink blood, and he did sleep in a coffin. But who's to say that that's not just how he was?
Right, doesn't necessarily make him a vampire.
Exactly, but it was during a time where people came up with folk stories, to give their town some kind of legend.
Right. Now I've heard about the legend of a guy named Dracula, and he wasn't really a vampire according to the stories I read. He got mad at somebody once, and he cut their head off or something, and put on a stake outside his house or something like that.
Yeah, I haven't heard too much about that, but I do know about the old time Dracula.
Now, excuse me. What do you think about the chupacabras?
Chupacabras, I think, are just more than less. They're probably just somebody mistaking a dog that has rabies or something like that. I feel like, I don't think chupacabras exist. I think it's just something that somebody mistook a dog for, or some kind of wolf, or some kind of, animal that was going through a hard time or something like that, because they explain it as a dog-looking character with barely any hair, and it's shaking all the time, and it's very violent and stuff, and that could have been mistaken for a dog with rabies.
And a lot of times if the animal has mange, they lose their fur too.
Exactly.
I can't say I personally believe in chupacabras. I've heard the stories like everybody else has, but I've never came across one.
Exactly, and it's just a very weird tale, and there's no proof to back it up. But I seen a chupacabra. Oh, you did? Where? Over there. Oh, there's a dead dog over there with mange. That could have been it. So.
Right. In the field of paranormal investigating, you gotta debunk a lot of things. Otherwise, she'll just look at you like you're stupid.
Yeah, and I debunk so much stuff on a daily basis. Like one time, I actually freaked myself out and seen my own shadow in a hallway while investigating, and debunked it as my shadow. But I really thought it was the spirit showing itself.
Right. Well, that's easy to do sometimes too, though. If you're easily spooked at a certain time in a new area and you see something that wasn't there a minute ago, but the lighting just changed there, and you didn't realize it. Therefore, that's your own shadow.
Exactly.
Now, what do you believe about banshees?
I'm not too sure about banshees. I don't really know what a banshee is exactly. I've never really researched on a banshee.
I know a little bit about them. I've done a little bit of research on banshees. Supposedly it's like an Irish spirit that originated in Ireland or Scotland, in that general area. And they they have some have really high pitched wails they give off. Like if you hear a banshee scream, then supposedly you or a family member close to you will be dying soon. That's the story of the banshees.
Yeah, I've heard about that. Actually, we have a legend here in Poplar Bluff. It's the Ozark Banshee. I'm guessing that's what that is. And if you're ever standing out by the Ozark sign at 4 o'clock in the morning, you can hear them wail. But me and my team stood out there at 4 o'clock in the morning for a little 30-minute session, and nothing happened. You know, we didn't hear a wail. We actually stood out there from 2 o'clock in the morning to 4 o'clock in the morning, and then from 4 o'clock in the morning to 5 o'clock in the morning waiting, and we heard nothing. So we debunked it as false, you know, something that a high school kid came up with, or some kind of, you know, fake legend.
Well, you never know until you check it out, though.
Yeah, and that's true.
I've never personally heard a banshee actually wail or scream. I have heard disembodied screams before, but whether it could have been a panther I heard or just another spirit, I don't know.
Yeah, and a lot of people do mistake banshee wails. They do mistake panther wails. They could be mistaken those for, you know, banshee wails, and they also could be mistaking bullfrogs as banshee wails, because I think I have researched on some banshee wails, and their screams apparently sound like the screams of women in danger.
Huh.
And bullfrogs sound like women screaming.
Really, I never heard that.
Yeah, like if you ever look up a bullfrog scream and you hear it, it sounds like a woman screaming.
I'll have to look that up in a little while. I didn't know that.
And it's and like when I was a kid, I used to be scared to go outside and take the trash out because we had bullfrogs screaming all over. It sounded like there was a million women surrounding my house just screaming.
That'd be a scary thought.
Yeah.
Well, it is really interesting. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
That's just scary to think about. I mean, imagine walking outside and seeing hundreds of different women just surrounding your house, staring off into blank space, screaming.
Right.
Yeah, that's just absolutely terrifying, and you know that they can give off that effect. And the scream is to actually, it's either one of two things. It's either to put fear in the minds of different animals, or it is to, you know, mate with another bullfrog.
Right. So that's about the end of my questions. Do you have anything else you'd like to add?
How long have you been in the paranormal investigation business?
Oh, I think I've been into, I'd say at least probably 10 years or so, maybe over 10 years. I started off doing Bigfoot hunting, and I got a little bit of study of Wicca and with a friend of mine, and started slowly getting into paranormal, and just lately, since the last 10 years, my friends moved to Iowa because he has some family issues up there. So I've been doing more of the ghost hunting than I had Bigfoot hunting.
Yeah. So, have you caught anything like on EVP or anything like that that is pretty interesting at all?
Oh, definitely caught a lot of things on EVP. I was at the Newburgh Cemetery in Newburgh, Missouri, and I was down there once and heard EVP in my voice recorder and said, "Go." And
yeah, that'd be some pretty scary stuff right there.
Right. Thankfully, I only heard it when I listened to the recording later on at home. But if I heard it with the bear at my naked ears, that'd been a little scarier.
Yeah.
And I was at there's one time I went down to Pine Hill Cemetery, also called Goatman's, down towards St. James, Missouri. And I think one time I heard a scream down there. I know I got a scream on my recording device. And there's another cemetery I was at called Little Prairie Burial Grounds / Wishon Cemetery. It's like two cemeteries merged into one. I've heard quite a few EPs there. I've heard Hi, go fuck yourself, pussy bitch.